All right, welcome in everybody. It is Thursday, so that means it's Line Breakers FC time. Best place for your weekend winners across the pitch, but now since we got MLS back, we have it here as well. AJ's having some computer issues, so it's just going to be Joey B and I for this episode. As usual, brought to you by thebreakdownsports.com. Check out all of our content we got rolling out there. It's pretty solid right now. Joey B, how you doing today?
I can't complain. We got a great weekend of soccer. Maybe some leagues more than others, but it should be a drama-filled next couple weeks. I think AJ and I said that last week, but really looking forward to it. And I think should be some exciting. I guess the FA Cup is the big game of the weekend too in England.
Yeah, we got a weird Premier League slate this weekend, so definitely get your eyes looking elsewhere because that's where you'll get your better matches this weekend. And as usual, there's always money to be made. But before we get into some matches we want to talk about, not sure if you saw this with the Austrian Bundesliga, but how in the NFL they dumped the Gatorade, they dumped the water. Other teams just go crazy and throw the water bottles. The Bundesliga, they actually get huge steins and just dump beer on each other on the field while people are interviewing. They're just literally beer all over the coach when they won. So I just thought it was electric, number one. Two, we need it here because will throw so much more money betting on is Coors Light or Bud Light being dumped on a coach's head than if the Gatorade color is going to be purple or orange. So I just thought it was wild where, I don't know, the Austrian league is probably seventh biggest over in Europe, maybe eighth. I'm not counting too well that right off my head. Probably around that. 7 to 10 is the safest way so I don't get added at and trolled. But always please troll me. But I was just saying, beer baths, 100% here for it rather than what we're currently seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. I think it would just add to the electricity factor, I guess, if we're going for that. But in terms of, I'd love for the books to have to figure out whether the beer that was dumped out was Coors Light or Bud Light, because it's not like we can go by color. It would be, I would say, close to impossible to tell unless they had inside information. But yeah, I'd love to throw a little money on that for sure. I'd be rooting for, I guess I won't say who I'm rooting for, but I'd be rooting for myself as a winner, I guess.
Yeah, the other funny part was Aronson. He was on camera during one of them when he got beer showered, and he started yelling 9 in the most like German or Austrian accent I've ever heard. So I was like, he's adapted pretty quickly over there, being from New Jersey. All right, Premier League. Let's get into we got 5 leagues we want to run through real quick, or 5 competitions, however we want to classify it. Premier League, the one we're going to spend the least amount of time on because the only interesting race right now is going to be that Europa spot where Liverpool, West Ham, Tottenham, and Everton, they're the only ones in action this weekend. Arsenal's off because they got a game in hand. They should all essentially take care of business because they're playing teams at the bottom half of the table. But if I have to pick one that's not going to do it, it could potentially be Everton because their home form is just pretty putrid, and always going to look at Tottenham to be upset because they're playing Wolves. So Liverpool and West Ham, I think they have 2. Burnley sneaky. They put up a good midweek performance, but Liverpool's playing West Brom, so that's an easy one just to toss out real quick. So nothing that interesting in the Premier League this weekend unless you want to watch some mid-table to see if that's your club or whatever, because the Leeds match doesn't do it that much for me, even though I'll probably be watching it.
Yeah, and I think 538 updated their percentage chances for those for Leicester, Chelsea, and Liverpool to finish 4th, and Leicester and Chelsea are both, I guess, to finish top 4. Leicester and Chelsea are both 69%, and then Liverpool 61%. So those 3 points against Man U really, really helped them today. Yeah, I think the joke's already been made about 10 times on Twitter. So,
yeah, so Premier League, AJ, I know you're watching us right now. This was supposed to be for you, but I'll hold it and ask you next week. So give you maybe some time to prep for this. Is this the worst number 2 team in the Premier League that we've seen in the past like 5 or 10 years?
I mean,
because I know the last 2 or 3 seasons, it could be a little bit of a recency bias because you have the Liverpool City races and they were nuts because both teams were putting up 80 plus. But I know Man U too legitimately played the weekend match to make sure Leicester made it for some reason. I don't know why, but they literally played. The only starter was De Gea out there, or De Gea. So that's just kind of where 70 points looking like they'll end with 76 max. I just think this is potentially the worst second seed that we've seen in the past 5 years, if not 10.
Yeah, I mean, even I'm just quickly going through the year Leicester won. I think Arsenal finished second with 71. So um, I can't won't say who was on that team or anything. I don't not off the top of my head, but yeah, I think the last time this first place or second place was Man U was at 81 points when City won with 100. So um, yeah, it's got to be up there. It's got to be up there. Even in terms of like inconsistent teams. And granted, Man U has a good shot to win the Europa Cup, or Europa League. I guess I don't know why I call it a cup. But yeah, I mean, in terms of EPL total like dominance, I guess to finish with a max of 76 points isn't like a strong second place team. So for a domestic team to finish with that, I guess for City to kind of dominate and run away with it so long, I think I'd have to say yes. I think definitely in the last 5 years. I don't know about the last 10. I have to go back and look.
Yep. But that Arsenal team is a good one to bring up for comparison. And plus, just to play devil's advocate to my own point, this is probably the toughest season that anyone's had to play in a long time. So that also plays a factor into it. But it is what it is. They're a little bit more condensed, but it wasn't as condensed as people think. All right.
For sure.
So let's get to the FA Cup. Here we got Chelsea versus Leicester. Yet Chelsea sitting around like minus 110 on the money line. So that'll give you Leicester around plus 250. Joey B, real quick thoughts on this because one, I think they are going to put up their top lineups here because to bring home this trophy, it's the only domestic one that really matters. So that's why I do think we will see the top lineups here. Leicester did play majority of their guys, or it's plus 307 on the Leicester money line. So, with this Tuchel under, that's going to be juiced. Oh, yeah. Chelsea unders should still continue to cash. You should just basically be blindly playing them at this point. But off this match off the top, because good luck trying to predict Chelsea's roster or lineup that they're going to throw out there. What's your thoughts?
I think plus 300 is too much for Leicester, but it doesn't. It's too much, but I still don't think I would want to back them on it. I think that plus 300 money line is a good number, but trying to find them I bet the draw, I think maybe a good angle too. I just don't. I feel like Chelsea will overpower them with their quality and just number of attacking options. The way they've played, they've been really good, but Leicester's still a top quality team. Maybe have struggled at this part of the season the last couple of years, but I just think plus 300 in a game that can get to extra time is a little much. But yeah, I think taking them at like a plus 0.5 or something like that would be, if I were to bet this game, that's the way I would go, I think.
Yeah, I know Tuchel wasn't appointed at this point, so it's even tough to see what they did at their recent matches or what they did this season, just basically because the philosophy and how they're playing is just vastly different from January to what it is now. So it's hard to take Leicester's 2-0 win at home. And the comparison also, this is at Wembley, so it's a neutral site. I mean, that's where when you're saying the plus 307, especially with the way I think, not that that's the side I need to lean because I'd rather play that plus 0.5, especially cup finals. You could see the extra time. But as of right now, if you're just seeing Chelsea at the minus 110 price, not saying you have to play it, just holding a ticket against the Chelsea side, especially once they go up a goal, it's been it's like almost City level frustrating. Just there is absolutely nothing. And then the match that makes me make me think of it most was the West Ham match from, I think it was 3 weeks ago on a Saturday, where Chelsea just got an early 1-0 lead and West Ham's build up and everything just couldn't break through the lines. Leicester, I'm just not sold that if they need to get a goal, it's just not going to – the quality right now I just think is too different. So, yeah, I would have to unfortunately go against the hungry dog approach on this one and back Chelsea on the money line if I had to make a play on this. Yeah,
I think I always just find the cup finals hard to bet on, but the more you talked about Chelsea, I guess I could definitely see either side here for sure. But I think a good way to take like Chelsea and under 3.5 if you're into the same game parlays, it's right around plus 140. Or even go the safer route, Chelsea and under 4.5, it's still plus 106. So I really don't see this game getting to three or I guess 4 or 5 goals for sure. Not a hot take, but definitely don't see this as like a cup final that's going to sky over the total, especially when you have the 2.5 is like minus 150.
Yeah, there's not a chance I'm playing a minus 150 on that one. So let's get into Serie A, obviously the top league out there. And the match that probably I thought was going to have insane amount of momentum or impact on the season, but it means absolutely squat to one side. And we said this last week. Is Ronaldo really going to be playing on a potential Europa side team with 2 matches left in Serie A? Juventus is sitting on that line right now where they're going to be going to Europa, and that's going to be big questions if Ronaldo would stay there. Pirlo, the board did say he will be back for another season because, I mean, he coached his first game ever in Serie A on a team that's won 9 straight. Good luck trying to make everyone happy there. But Juventus at plus 116, Inter Milan at plus 221. The over here at 2 3/4 at minus 125. I think that's an easy bet in this one is play the over here, just lock it in. And here, this is one where I wouldn't care about the juice because if you've seen Inter's recent matches against Roma, against Sampdoria, they've used a decent amount of rotation. But here, I think they are truly going to go with their top lineup. What better way to celebrate it? And the team that's having the most fun right now is to go to Juventus, win for the first time since 2012, which would essentially win right around where the streak started. That's where at plus 221, if you want a hungry dog, it's been that looking at me the whole time, Joey B. So that's where if I got the plus 0.5, I would have locked it in by now, but the plus 0.25 just isn't doing to it for me too much because that's where I'd just rather play that money line at plus 221. But the over seems the easy play here. What are your thoughts?
Sorry, I do have a play on the total. It may be in line with Rex, it may not be. But yeah, I think again, Inter is having fun. The pressure is not on them. It's not like and they would love to beat Juventus here. I totally agree. Juventus, obviously, Ronaldo does tend to thrive in the pressure games and the high pressure situations. But it'll be tough to go up against a team that's just having as much fun as Inter seem to be having right now. There's a little a boxing match, I guess a fake boxing match going on. So I don't know. I think just the goofing around, they have no pressure. They're going to go out, just try to have fun and kill the hopes of Champions League for Juventus. I think that'd be a great result for them on top of winning the title, I think. So yeah, totally agree. And just good Serie A action this weekend all around, I think.
Yeah, it's wild where in a match where the league's already won, you're playing Roma, Lautaro gets subbed off early. And I mean, sure, you get heated and during the matches, and they have a fake boxing match where Lukaku, he has a role and as a ringleader or the mic man in his future because he called it perfect. And he said it's from Madison Square Garden too, which is pretty fun because they really went full boxing thing. But 50-year-old Conte, I don't know how he would do too well against El Toro. But La Liga, Joey B, Barcelona, they stink. Who's winning this? Give me just quick thoughts on this La Liga title because this is probably the best one in Europe right now.
Yeah, so I just crazy. I mean, the race now is really going to be between 2 people, and I think Real Madrid is still up on they're still up on Granada right now. The last I saw it was 4-1, but maybe I think a goal got called back. It might be 3-1. But either way, it's really going to come down between Atletico and Real Madrid. And I think even if Real Madrid wins today, Atletico still has a 2-goal advantage. And I think Atletico ends the season with Valladolid next weekend, and then this weekend they play Osasuna. So I said this in February. It got a little tight for them, but Atletico Madrid is still in the driver's seat here with a 2-point lead over Real Madrid. So Barcelona really did not do themselves any favors, allowing a 82nd minute goal, I think, or 80th minute, somewhere around there, to tie it up. Really need to not let Levante score 3 goals on you. But I think if Atletico get all 3 points here this weekend, they should kind of wrap up the title, but it will still come down to that final day.
And I heard Koeman's coming back as well, where some fans aren't too happy about that as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Last league before we get into our best bets that we are going to hit on, which we all know you're coming here from, so stick through it because this is a potential best bet here. Joey B and I, even though we're diehard Lily fans at this point, 2 matches left, playing 2 teams at the bottom of the table or at the bottom half, so granted they should get there, but you can get PSG on the book I'm on right now at plus 275. And all PSG have to do is win their last 2 matches, and they're going to be listed above minus 500 in both of them. They're minus 872 this weekend. This would be the only time, even though I was not high on Lily, I was hoping they pull it out. They were sitting around like plus 115 most of the time. Now they shot up to all the way to minus 400. A squad that doesn't have that many veterans that's been here before and's done it. It just seems like PSG at plus 275 seems to be too bad of a price because if you parlay minus 875 and that together, sure, you need other results to come your way with Lille just potentially pulling out 1 draw. But I think that's your safest way if you want to fade Lille is to play PSG right now to win the league at plus 275. Don't go full unit on this one. I probably go half unit here if I'm playing on it, but at plus 275, that seems like too good a value.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but Lille, I think their last test or their toughest test was last weekend against Lens, who I think picked up a red card early in their game, so they might have gotten out of that one a little easy. But I do think I don't know. I guess you always count on PSG, but I'll be rooting hard for Lille just to end the reign of PSG.
All right, time for our best bets. Let's recap how we did. Somehow I went 2-2 last weekend for exactly 0.00 units. Wasn't attempting to do that. Got burned by the Chelsea City under, but I guess I can't really complain when the Pancake was missed. And then the Sheffield Wednesday money line to Hungry Dog at plus 212. Unfortunately, it didn't come through, but we got a 3-3 match in a relegation battle, so can't complain about that. Both MLS plays were winners, so maybe we just stick to that.
Yeah, you're holding on strong with the MLS plus money, and at least I tuned in for that Sheffield game, and at least I got up early to watch an exciting game that did not disappoint at all. For me, I was 3-1 last weekend. I had the Dortmund money line, Frankfurt money line, Benevento and Cagliari over 2.5. All 3 were winners, or no? Frankfurt did not win, and then I had the Napoli halftime, full time. So I thought Frankfurt may have had the chance at the end to win it after they tied it late, but they did not. So, but I'm happy with the 3-1 weekend.
Yep, and then once again went 1-1 last night, but got plus half a unit out of it because of the plus money. So let's ride that good momentum into this weekend. So I got 4 plays coming up. I'm definitely going to be tweeting out more coming up this weekend. I looked through these leagues. These are the ones that popped out. The Premier League's fishy, so I think you might just have to keep that one off. But Joey B, we got Austin finally. The first time, plus money, I can fade them, where I only have to back the money line. I don't have to lay a minus 0.75 or a -1. We got the Galaxy at plus 115, which sure, their defense isn't that great in Austin. They do things with the counter, and they're looking a lot more. But the 5th road game in a row here, Chicharito can't stop scoring. And I just think Austin has run into a good group of teams that weren't feeling right at the beginning of the season. And the Galaxy at home at even though it's only short plus 115, I still like this one to come through. And I think this is an easy 2-goal winner.
Love to hear it. Even if a plus 115 2-goal winner, you can't beat that. For me, I'm going to the Bundesliga. Gladbach plays Stuttgart. I think Gladbach have a little bit more to play for. I think they are trying to hold on to that 7th place spot. Let me just double check that I have my. So they got they're tied with Union Berlin behind them. in that 7th place spot will get them into like a qualifying for the Europa League because the Pokal winner will have qualified elsewhere. So they are definitely going for the win here, all 3 points to stay ahead of Union. They're playing Stuttgart, who has they had a very strong season, but have struggled recently. I think they've picked up a lot of injuries. I think Gladbach maybe sitting around -150, -160 on the money line. But I'm going to throw on the over 1.5 to get it down to -125. I think they get the win. I think they could win this game 2-0. I looked at the over here, but Stuttgart's offense has just been hit or miss recently. So I think Gladbach will get 1 or 2 and kind of hold on and get that W.
Damn, I know you're confident if you're going against Stuttgart here when they're your club you love to back. So if you see a good spot to go against them, I like it here with Gladbach pulling out the points. So my next play, sticking in the MLS, I really want to play the Fire on the money line tonight. That's sitting around like +170 with going against DC United. But instead of doing that, this is a pure, hopefully money moves in my correct favor or way, because we're fading DC United on the second half of their midweek matches because Orlando doesn't have a midweek match. So we can get them as road favorites at +124. That's where it's soccer. You get the plus money as the road favorite. But hoping that this does drop at least 10 to 20 cents, depending on tonight's result. Areola and Hamid still not playing for DC United. This attack they're producing their chances, but it's just nobody of quality is producing them. So that's just kind of where Orlando, they've been clicking from last season. Galice's still in net with Nani looking pretty well. Sure, they're maybe missing Dwyer up top a little bit right now as a consistent finisher, but going up against a weak DC team, I like their chances, especially when they get the better legs in this scenario. So Orlando, they're probably my favorite bet of the weekend at +124.
Nice. Love to hear it's your favorite bet. Also fading my local DC United. Can't say I'm a fan here or there, but I've been to one friendly, so I'll stick
You'll
to my.
You'll be
an
NYCFC fan soon then, by proximity.
Well, I may have to stick with my my Nashville SC fandom, but maybe I'll hop on a New York bandwagon here or there. But yeah, I guess I'm going to Serie A. Already kind of been mentioned. Rex talked about it. But I'm taking Inter Juventus over 2.75 -112. I don't want to lay the juice. I think there's a good chance we see 4 goals here for sure. Mm-hmm. Definitely, I don't want to say 100%, but definitely see 3 goals at the very least. Inter just has been. I think the fact that there's no pressure on them and they're going to maybe try to get the one up Juventus here. I just think it's going to be a exciting game. They're not going to play for the draw. Draw doesn't really do. Obviously, the draw doesn't do Juventus any favors, I don't think. So they'll be going for the win. Inter has good counterattack. I just think it could be a 2-2, 3-2 game to either side, to be honest.
Yep, and like I said, I'm thinking about tweeting out some plays. I just want to see Inter's lineup, even though as of right now, they don't really – I mean, they do have the depth, but they're further depth down. They haven't really gotten them into the lineup or mix that much. I definitely expect to see that on the final match day. And yeah, scroll back in our timeline if you want to see it, because I really do like this over 2.75. I just want to see the lineups before I lock in a play on this one. All right, so gave you out a play for Saturday, gave you out a play for Sunday. So we got some Monday plays here now, Joey B, because it's the championship playoff. So you know I'm going to be backing it. Since our stream is Thursday and this is Monday, neither of my books have the to advance or to qualify odds. So that's potentially where I would play these instead. But you can definitely see the reasoning behind these two is I'm basically taking those plays without taking it. Because the first one is I'm taking the Barnsley money line at +120. That's the 4 versus 5 matchup. They are the bottom, the 5, so they do have the away leg first. And at +120 with Barnsley, I just think they are the better side right now. Other than Aronson and Pulisic, DK is probably like my 3rd favorite player to watch right now. And the quality that they just have, I honestly think the winner that does go to the Premier League does come out between the Barnsley-Swansea side. So if you want to take that as the team to get promoted, do what you want there because you'll get +200 prices on each of those. But Barnsley in the first leg, they need to pull out points because going to Swansea down or after a draw or down, sure, they have the attack to pull that out, but with Barnsley, they didn't have any parachute payment, so they're doing this all strictly off of what they did with their club. Especially DK transfer or on a loan has been one of the biggest bargains of the entire championship so far. But at plus 120 at home, I like that price. Sure, it's a little short. I was hoping to get plus 130 or 140 here, but I'm just going to take it because I do think Barnsley do advance.
Yeah, when I saw the championship plays, I thought we were done with the season, but then I second guessed myself and thought we were done, but I forget they roll right into the playoffs. So always a must watch, especially the first two legs and then the final for sure. Always it's what do they call it, the richest game in the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think I'll get in my last play. I've was debating on doing this. I know Rex, I make this joke probably every time, but you'll roast me for taking the grease or not easy money line parlay.
Can't lose parlay.
Yeah, sure. We'll find a way to lose. But I'm taking Dortmund and Napoli together. Dortmund's minus 230, Napoli's minus 190. It's sitting around maybe plus 119, plus 120. I just think it's good value. Both teams need to win. Both teams are in there fighting for their Champions League spot. So I think I don't want to say just because they need to win doesn't mean they will win. I think Dortmund's playing Mainz, who they actually struggle with. They only have like one win against them in their last like 4 or 5 matchups, which is interesting. And then Napoli play Fiorentina, I think. I'm looking at that right. Yeah, early game on Sunday. Napoli's just been hot. They've been I backed them last weekend. I think they barely won, I think, the game before, but I just think they should get all 3 points, both Napoli and Dortmund. And I think Rex would have roasted me if I added these teams in, but if you want to add in a couple extra legs.
Yeah, I think if you put the 400s in, yes.
I was so close to adding Atalanta Frankfurt, but they're both like minus 400, minus 500. But again, I mean, Frankfurt playing Schalke, I thought you would have given me a little bit of leeway with that one. But those two teams are somewhat I could see adding in if you want to get better odds or kind of stretch this parlay out for the whole weekend. So, but yeah, I think just sticking with Dortmund and Napoli for now for me.
See, what I would have liked there is leave Atalanta off, or if you're going to add in Atalanta and Frankfurt, both just play them at the -1, because then they'll actually help your odds. Because the 2 minus 400s, sure, they'll get that plus 119 to maybe plus 185-ish. I'm not. Yeah. That's just raw math off my head. I don't know exactly how much higher it would get it, but if the Frankfurt -1 in there, I definitely do like that one because you can get the push and then you get back down to the plus 119. But that should give you at least plus 250 if you did the -1.
For sure. Totally agree with that.
All right, last play. The only one with the minus sign in front of it, and it's minus 115, and it still makes me feel gross. But there might, even though my championship fandom and watching it season to season may only be like 3 or 4 seasons at this point, but always kept an eye on it. And Bournemouth may be the worst team in form heading into this, potentially. They've dropped 3 straight in a row and haven't scored in any of the 3. So that's kind of where Brentford, this is Bournemouth's home leg here. So I'm getting Brentford on the pick at minus 115. I'm getting Tooney on my side, who I don't know if the playoffs count to see if you can break the all-time championship goal record, but he's at 35 plus for this season. I don't think by any means he's getting enough love or attention that he should be with the numbers he's putting up, because I do think he's going to be the transfer that happens this summer that most people might not be that familiar with. So if you want to sound smart and say Tooney, he might move for big money unless Brentford somehow keep him if they do end up going up. And secondly, yes, this is more numbers related, but it's like around 80% of the time or 70% of the time, the 3 seed goes up in the 3-6 matchup to the final match. So that's where at the pick at minus 115, I saw to advance, I believe, on I was just searching books and I saw it like minus 125. So some might be minus 115, but I'm just going to take the pick in the first leg the money line, you could go there. That thing sitting around plus 150, but knowing that a draw doesn't do them over and they just have to pull out a win at home, I'll take the pick here.
Yeah, I think it's a great spot. And you mentioned a goals record, and it jogged my memory. I think, or I guess I'd not think, but Bayern are currently sitting on 92 goals for their Bundesliga season. Their team total against Freiburg this weekend is 2.5, kind of juiced to minus 140. If they want any shot at getting to 100, I think they need 4 this weekend and 4 next weekend. Maybe a good way to go about it, but just maybe a fun bet to look out for this weekend, because Bayern are going to be trying to get 8 goals over their last 2 games to get to 100, I think.
Ooh, that you bring that up right before we recap all of our best bets jogs my memory, because Atalanta, they could go 3 straight seasons with scoring the most goals in Serie A. When Juventus has had their streak, and at least in the 2000s, if not, I think the last one happened in the 60s or the 70s. No club has put up 3 top in a row. AC Milan's obviously not going to get there, but Napoli sits 3 behind, Inter sits 4 behind. So those are the only 2 teams that could potentially get it. But if Atalanta do pull it out, 3 straight Champions League appearances for them, that's just a club that we do talk about them a lot. We show them a lot of love, and granted, because they're looking to finish in the driver's seat for second right now. So good for them. Another solid season under their belt where Champions League hasn't been something of their history. Let's go ahead.
One last Bundesliga fact. Lewandowski sitting on 39 goals. I think the guy's name is Gerd. I'm probably very wrong. Gerd Muller. He scored 40 goals one time, so Lewandowski will be looking to break that record as well. I couldn't find the team goals record for the season, but I don't know, getting 100 goals in one Bundesliga season, that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, just shows their pure dominance. Let's recap these best bets. Got the Galaxy money line plus 115 in the MLS on Saturday. Got Orlando money line plus 124 on Sunday. Favorite bet of the weekend. Then we got 2 Monday midday work plays, because one kicks off at 3, the other one are 1 and 3, so they're separate times. We got the Barnsley money line at plus 120, the Brentford pick at minus 115. I 100% endorse one of Joey B's plays, maybe hopping on it once I see the lineups, but I'll let him rattle his plays off.
Yeah, I got a Gladbach in over 1.5 goals, minus 125. Inter Juventus over 2.75, minus 112. And then a parlay of Dortmund and Napoli plus 119. So it's got 3 plays for the weekend.
Yep, and I'll be eyeing up that Inter play. Definitely think I'll have more MLS added. Dallas is the team that I left off my card for what it's worth right now. They were going to be the hungry dog. But yes, catch me on Spaces. Catch us wherever we're going to be going forward, because we're live. If you're watching us on Twitter, give us a follow on Facebook and YouTube. If you're watching us on one of those, vice versa, follow us everywhere. The content that we're putting out, solid. We got some good new articles going out there, like Will's Who's Going to Beat Cincinnati this season from the group of 5. We have destinations for the Oakland Athletics if they do end up moving, where there's one city in there that the MLB can Galaxy brain everybody and go to Mexico City. My personal favorite would be Vegas in that one, though, just because pro teams in Vegas, they're a lot of fun. I've been to one night's game. It's a good time. Other than that, Joey B, plug the thing. Anything you want to plug?
No, just follow me on Twitter. You can follow names. Our ats are under our head, but ton of good content. Definitely be sure to check out Rex's Spaces whenever he hosts it for some MLS talking. Had he made some money last night, and that's all that matters. So be sure to tune into those.
Yep, it's a grind, but until next time, we'll catch you later.